Welcome to the Dog Chug, Roger and Ross. How's it going tonight?
I'm doing great. I finally made it to a Browns game this season, and it was awesome.
That was a good one.
It was very last minute. My son had his first Christmas concert at church, so that was exciting. So I was 50-50 on going to the game. Everything ended in time, and about 11:30, I'm like, fuck it, I'm going.
Nice.
So I made it there.
Nice.
I parked at like 12:35, and then I ran to the stadium to meet up with my friend Noodle, who's been on the show before. So
yes, and who might be on the show very soon.
Yeah.
I just want to bring special attention. We got another Browns Christmas tree delivered to our house.
That's how they grow in Cleveland, right?
Two Browns trees.
I'm pretty sure my friends were fucking with me, but thank you for sending me another Browns Christmas tree. I promise Heather doesn't have any anxiety about more junk being put in the house at all.
Oh yeah, that other one's still there.
And there's like a third tree over here. It's crazy. Anyway, look, we got a victory, right? So I think the only thing we need to do is to bring Eddie on to do his victory chug.
Bring Eddie in. Yep.
Oh, I got to switch to this. Yeah. There we go.
There goes.
Eddie, welcome back to the Dog Chug. It's been a minute.
It has been. It's been too long, but now we're here.
Yeah.
And hopefully I'm just here the rest of the season because it shapes up. The schedule is very favorable for us, despite 800 injuries and 400 people never playing football again for us. And it's all fun. It's all fun and games.
All we can do is chug, and we actually have someone to chug with you. So
that's right.
Welcome back to the Dog Chug, Lysandra.
Hey guys.
Yeah, more chuggers.
How's it going?
Squad pod. Check it out.
Doing good. I'm very excited because Jessica from the Dog Chug sent some cookies. So I told my family that they could have any cookie that I don't eat tonight. So I have one chance. We'll all be gone.
Hey Ross, are you in like the Browns headquarters right now, or what's going on there? Bro?
I am. This is my office.
Broke into the office.
I'm in the basement.
I swear it's not a green screen. It's not a green screen at all.
Huh.
Pretty good cookies. Thanks, Josh. All right. Well, I think it's time to chug.
Heck yeah.
I had Holly Jolly Christmas Ale.
Can you guys hear me okay?
Nice.
Yeah, great.
Sounds fine.
Okay, I'm in different, but
I almost bought that today, but I went with the Festivus.
I went with
I need that.
the tropical beer chug. The 9%.
I need you to send me some Festivus beer. I can't find it.
We gotta. Hey, this is a victory chug for representing 3 different states. So let's go.
Whoa. Eddie's still going. Nice.
Wow.
It's like this.
Hey,
much
Ed.
fun. We're good. It's been a while. I got to get warmed back up in the routine.
Eddie, when we officially get into the playoffs, how are you going to celebrate that chug?
That's a great question.
Follow it up with a shot.
Oh, I don't know about all that.
Oh.
Maybe a shot of Hennessy. We'll see. Actually, that's exactly what I'll do. There'll be Hennessy involved with my chug if we make the playoffs, because that'll be a celebration.
I'll be with you on that one.
I might have to call off work the next day, or to say, "Hey, I'm going to be a little bit late."
You literally were like, I don't know about all that. You know what? Maybe I will. That's exactly what I'm going to do. I like it.
We have. I'm taking after you, Andy. Only I'm not going to mix Hennessy with 84 other different liquors, which is still impressive to me. I don't know how you have a liver, but I'm glad that you do.
I mean,
It's mechanical.
I'm going to need a Dog Chug fan to help give some of their.
Roger, I'm loving the beanie, by the way. I'm loving the beanie look.
Love it.
Oh my God, the cookies are so good.
What kind are they?
Oh, you got them this time. That's nice.
Yeah.
What kind of cookies are they?
They're chocolate chip with M&Ms.
Oh,
Where'd you get these from?
From Jessica. I guess she is a big fan of mine.
also a
Wait
big
a
fan.
minute. Wait a minute. You got cookies from Jessica?
Yep.
Yeah, Roger, I sent
Really?
them over to
How
him.
about that? How about that? Mine must be going to Ross's again. Every year I get screwed out of the cookies.
You know what, Roger? A lot of time before Christmas. Maybe you're going to be getting cookies soon.
No, you know what happens if she sent me some. The mail to Cuyahoga Falls goes to Cuyahoga Falls, then it goes to Akron, then it comes back to Cuyahoga Falls, and then it goes to the mail carriers for some. Yeah, it takes like 3 weeks to mail me something.
If someone wants to send me cookies, hit me up. I'll give you my address. They can send me cookies too.
I heard there's a flour
Same.
shortage in Oklahoma, so you're screwed.
Oh,
Yeah, man, Oklahoma cookies.
So, what are your predictions for Sunday's game? Since we're only a few days away,
What you got, Eddie?
I said earlier on Faithful Dogs, 27-17 Browns. I think that this is one of those games that could be close a little bit in the first half, and then I think they pull away. I think it's going to be similar to the Jacksonville game, only the Bears aren't as good. So I might be giving them a little bit too much with the 17 points, but we'll overcome all the injuries we have and keep chugging.
I agree. I think it's going to be a repeat of the last game. I was at that game, so I see Myles Garrett killing it. We got so many injuries, but I feel like we can pull through. I think that Schwartz has a good defense, and I think that the Browns have been doing a great job doing the next man up. I mean, what are we on 4 quarterbacks now?
Yep.
Our 4th quarterback, our 8th offensive tackle, our 27th safety.
And we're still doing it. We still have a winning record.
That's because Kevin Stefanski is the coach of the year.
Yes.
Well over a winning record, not just like 1 game over.
Right.
And we're a whole game up in the wild card. We have the 5th seed locked to ourselves, and we control our own destiny. That's the greatest part about all this. We just control everything. And it's a favorable schedule. It goes Bears, Texans, Jets, and Bengals. Those are all 4 winnable games.
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely.
We get it. The injuries are part of the game. We get it, but that's not an excuse. Like, they're 8-5 still, so I don't know why you're bitching. But never mind. Someone just get me on the show.
I think it's just the fact that it's when you sustain this many injuries in the past, the Browns couldn't withstand that. Good teams, like if you look at the old Patriots, if you look at Baltimore, Pittsburgh Steelers, it's the next guy up is a quality guy. We have some roster depth now. That's something we didn't have.
Yep.
So the next guy up, and you insert this cog into the wheel, and it keeps going. Because you have good coaching, you have a good system in place, and you're starting to build a culture. So I think that's what the difference is now with all the injuries. That it's amazing that we're still winning, but it's because there's a foundation and there's a reason for it.
And I want to go a step further. I don't even think it's that we have depth, because a lot of the guys that are going to be playing on Sunday, we're not even going to know who the hell they are. We're not going to recognize their names because they're from the practice squad. But the Browns, this locker room believes in itself. They believe the mission, they believe what they're doing. And when you guys get assimilated into really tough positions, like we saw from our left tackle the last few weeks, he hasn't been great, but he's been doing the job. Mm-hmm. I think you just get this mentality that I gotta get the job done. Where maybe 5 years ago, the Browns were just like, oh, this is a dumpster fire. I don't know what I'm doing. It doesn't matter. And everything goes to shit. Mm-hmm. So no excuses from the dog chug, but I can't promise you there won't be any excuses from Twitter, because they do like to bitch. So
they bitch a lot. Too much. Way too much.
Ungrateful. We are 8-5, damn it.
Hell yeah.
I just want to say one more thing.
Hey, Eddie, we're just trying to fuel your next article. Your next article is going to be why the Browns are still great. And you're going to get
it might be something like that. I did say 2 weeks ago, I wrote about how Joe Flacco should be the starter. Oh, I love those. Those are fantastic. One of my favorite.
Boy, look at that.
But yeah, I wrote a couple weeks ago that Joe Flacco should be the starter. Then after last week, Stefanski's like, yeah, he's the starter the rest of the way and all that. If you are a Kevin Stefanski detractor, then, well, there's really no hope for you, especially certain members of Browns Twitter. And to this, if you do not want Kevin Stefanski as the head coach of this team, despite them being 8-5, despite 400 different injuries, fuck off.
Yeah, there you go. Hey, you know what? If we had a Super Bowl parade, so they'd be bitching about how we celebrated the Super Bowl parade.
I promise on everything, if there's a Super Bowl parade, I'll be in Cleveland for that. And I'll be having beer in one hand and Hennessy in the other, and we're going to have a great celebration.
Hell yeah. I'll drink to that.
I'll shave some cookies.
Why not?
Andy, those cookies are not going to make it till then. We'll get Super Bowl cookies instead. Super Bowl parade cookies. We'll get the Lombardi Trophy made up. Because
awesome. I just want to say to anyone out there, if you're, not doing much with your evenings, start a podcast. Befriend Jessica. Hope that she sends you cookies. Totally worth it. It's a good move. Anyway, I want to thank Eddie and Lysandra for doing a Victory Chug. I can't wait to see you do a Victory Chug next week, which I think we'll talk about when that's going to be.
Okay.
I actually am going to the Cavs game Wednesday. We were talking about doing another shit show. So might be on the weekend. We'll figure that all out. To be determined.
Yeah.
I just know
I put together a holiday show that'll
soon.
take up probably one show over 10 days or something. So
I need to
we'll
be
pick a day and we'll get back to you guys. And that's when we'll do. Probably end up doing 2 Victory Chugs by then. So
let's hope so. Let's chug the rest of the way.
And next week we're doing a Christmas ale show, which if you can't get Christmas ale, you can just do the best.
I'll get Christmas ale.
It's 7.5%. Find something between 7 and 8%, and you're good.
Unless you get Mad Elf, then it's 11%, and it's fantastic.
It is fantastic.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking
Maybe
for.
you're on a
11%. I
that
couldn't
one.
find it today.
I did
find
drink
it.
that
beer
a couple weeks ago,
Okay.
but I need to come on as a guest for the whole show sometime soon, and not just the child chug, and I'll be on the rest of the way.
All
Stay
right.
in your lane, Eddie.
Hey, we got Angry Browns fan. He's going to pick a Wednesday. We got Angry Browns fan coming on. But anytime, man. Yeah. I only got one guy, like he's picking a day, but you're in.
All right. Well, Eddie, Lysandra, thank you so much. We'll see you next
Appreciate
week.
y'all.
Always a pleasure.
Go Browns.
Go Browns.
Go Browns.
All right.
Oh,
And now I think it's time we get to Dog Chug Update.
All right.
Moment everyone waits for every single week.
We got serious there in the beginning. I got my new background. And we started talking real football and opened the show, and that's out of the ordinary. All right, here we go. Asked why the Browns decided to award Grant Delpit, whose play has declined later in the season, a 3-year, $36 million contract extension, AB said, "We see safety as a premium position in this league and like the traits that Grant possesses, as well as his role in the locker room. But most importantly, his toughness and availability to be on the field." 5 seconds later, Delpit was injured and placed on the IR, and general manager Andrew Berry was seen drinking tit juice and crying in his car.
Took a play from Andy's book.
Yeah.
Jedrick Wills was expected to return from his injury soon and take over for the overwhelmed left tackle Jerron Christian. But instead, in true Jed fashion, his doctor, who was going to give him the green light, determined he was offsides in the waiting room and held 2 of the nurses before the crucial evaluation. So instead, he threw a flag and performed season-ending knee surgery.
Oh, you're so close.
Classic Jed.
Wow.
All right. Jimmy Haslam was asked about the fact that the team is currently paying a whopping $117 million in salary to players not available due to being on IR. Jimmy said, "Holy shit, is that right? I haven't seen a waste of money that severe since back in the mid-90s when, due to the internet and how prevalent video cameras were becoming, the South was forced to stop pretending slavery was abolished and let all our damn slaves go free that we spent good money on." Ugh. Poor Jimmy.
Whew. You can tell he's from the South.
Big Ben came out of his beer-fueled hibernation this winter to criticize the coaching of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Let's make this clear. A month ago, the Steelers were 6-3, and some were claiming they were having one of the greatest seasons, winning in spite of being outgained each week, which went so counter to modern NFL football. Now, they lost back-to-back teams. They lost to back-to-back teams with 2-10 records, and their own former quarterback is suggesting they need a head coach change. Look, this might be the most Brownsiest story we've ever seen. So Brownsy, in fact, that the Dog Chug is officially in talks to pivot away from the Browns and cover the Steelers. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the Inbred Chug.
They'll be starting the first year.
Yinzer Chug.
Roger, me and you are going to be replaced by Andy's cousins.
That's right.
DeJuan Jones had a tough second opinion yesterday, who claimed his knee wasn't recovering as they hoped, and the massive right tackle would need surgery. DeJuan waved off the doc and said, "Wait a minute. Do you know who I am? I'm Thanos. And with the Infinity Gauntlet, I can make it like this darn knee injury never happened, and I'll be ready to help kick the Bears' asses Sunday. He snapped his fingers, and half the Browns vanished on the IR.
Damn it.
Son of a bitch.
All right. Kevin Stefanski pivoted from the guessing games at quarterback by naming Joe Flacco the starting quarterback for the remainder of the season. Asked why the change of approach and why he didn't prioritize keeping defenses guessing, he said, "Are you kidding? Just because I named Joe the starter, you think that actually means anything? Hell, I just read a report from Deep Podesta that there's an 88% chance with our flimsy practice squad tackles that Joe will be shitting blood in an ambulance by halftime. And I'd be concerned about DTR coming in unprepared, but hell, there's a 63% chance Dorian will separate his shoulder celebrating a first down and we'll be right back to PJ fucking Walker giving the ball away every goddamn snap. You think it matters anything I say in these stupid press conferences? I always preach overcoming adversity, but congrats to this stupid franchise. You finally broke me, Cleveland." By the way, anyone know that Stefanski girl's number? I'm really not looking forward to that ball bag Jimmy Haslam marching in my office Monday morning in January with his insincere Southern accent and relieving me of duties of this cursed team. Might as well see if she can get under my desk so I can feel something good during that horrible conversation. I hear she'd fit under there perfectly.
Ooh. Wow.
And now we have Rogers top 10.
Thank God.
Joe Flacco, he's talking about how playing in front of his kids now and they're older and they understand it and how he's feeling like a kid. But a lot of people are wondering what Joe Flacco is up to or what he was trying to get involved in, what he's going to do with his life post-football while he's waiting for somebody to call. And these are the top 10 things Joe Flacco was doing before getting a call from the Cleveland Browns. Number 10, he filed for unemployment and was looking to get a job at Enterprise Rental Car because they got an excellent corporate structure and they give you the opportunity and the tools to be your own boss. Number 9, it's my stepbrothers. Number 9, he was lying around the house wearing the same flannel, ordering takeout for 3 months after the game with the Jets. Number 8, he became a Swiftie, and he has been on the road following the Taylor Swift tour since the spring. So he's a Swiftie. Number 7, he spent time driving around in a rig with Jim Schwartz, entering seedy backroom arm wrestling competitions. Remember the Jim Schwartz top 10. Number 6, he auditioned for a job on the Price is Right model.
Got the long skinny mic.
That picture was used a lot. Number 5, he was looking over offers to move to Germany and coach a team like Joe Thomas. Number 4, he was all set to make his debut in the broadcast booth alongside Kevin Kugler for the Browns-Broncos game when Andrew Berry called. CBS was left scrambling for replacement, and they could only find Mark Sanchez.
That sucked.
Man, that's awful. Number 3, still angry about being replaced, he was sending anonymous dick pics to Ravens top brass John Harbaugh and Lamar Jackson's mom. Number 2, he was finalizing a deal to join the Network 216 with his new Wacko Flacco Delaware Fighting Blue Hens podcast. And the number 1 thing Joe Flacco was doing before getting a call from the Cleveland Browns, he recently resigned as Draymond Green's life coach. And that is tonight's top 10.
Wow.
Roger, you might be able to do top 10s again.
That was pretty good. We made fun of you for Ross beating you out. You came back in a big way.
Thank you. Thank you.
Always motivating you guys by making you feel terrible.
I'm doing the next. I think we're out of town the next game, so I'm going to do a crime. I'm going to do a police blotter.
Nice. That sounds awesome. I can't wait for that. All right, Roger, why don't you introduce tonight's feature guest?
All right. When we first started Dog Chug, I met Tim. He's my brother-in-law, and we went down. I met him before we went to Florida. First time I ever been to Florida. We were on the Gulf Coast for his wedding. He had a beautiful wedding on the Gulf Coast, and I forget the name of the city, but man, I had the greatest time of my life. I couldn't wait to come home. It was so freaking hot, right? I don't want to live in Florida, but at the time, he was a high school football coach, and he wanted to come on Dog Chug. He wanted to talk. He's a big Browns fan. He grew up in Florida. He grew up where the Indians would, when they were in the Grapefruit League, and grew up watching the Indians during spring training. So his name's Tim. high school football coach, and he couldn't come on back then because like they had really strict rules for being. So now he's I think he's kind of in your field, Andy, and bring on Tim in Florida, Tim Kramer, Coach Kramer.
Welcome to the Rock Show, Tim.
How's it going?
What's up, Tim?
So hey Tim, I got to ask you. He sent me a text right after the game, Andy, right after the Browns game, and he said, and it went perfectly with your last update. And he said, I only have one question. He's like, why do we have to sit through PJ Walker and GTR when Joe Flacco was sitting at home? So, Tim, welcome to Dog Chug. That was your immediate reaction after the Browns win. So, tell us about, how'd you become a Browns fan, man? How about that?
So I actually grew up my whole life rooting for the Bucks, being down here in Florida. And, I was blessed to see them win the Super Bowl back when I was in middle school. I was ninth grade, so high school. And I went, rooting for them my whole life. And then they started having some down years, and they went to go draft Jameis Winston, who I personally just thought was a bad person and didn't want to root for him. So I worked with a bunch of Bucks fans, and I brought in a bag full of all my Bucks stuff. I said, y'all have this. I'm not going to root for this team. And so I went like 2 years just watching NFL games. I pick a team to root for each game, and it would change. And then I met Alex, who's now my wife, and she's from Ohio. She's like, why don't you watch the Browns with me and root for the Browns with me? So we'll have something in common. I said, well, if I join the Browns at this point, nobody's going to call me a bandwagoner. So let's go for it.
Very true.
I love
it. It's been kind of unique down here, until this last year where YouTube took over the Sunday NFL ticket. The only time I ever really got to watch the Browns was if they played the Jags, they played the Bucks, or if they had a primetime game. And this year I've actually been able to watch them probably all but like 2 games.
Nice.
All right, Jay, I didn't want to forget. I wanted to hear that story. So, Andy, take over. I'm going to get accidentally drunk.
Yeah, was it tough getting through the Hugh Jackson years?
Yeah, I actually made a statement one time because I was aspiring to be a head coach, and I said, man, if I could just have job security going 1-31, I'd be pretty happy too.
Yeah, that was hard. And then they brought him back. Jameis Winston was not a good person in your estimation. I really wasn't a fan of his either at any point. But what do you think about the current quarterback of the Cleveland Browns?
Yeah, there's a lot of red. I don't know how to feel. There's a lot of red flags. Sure seems like a lot of stuff came out of the woodworks at once on that guy. I don't know how to feel about him. I will say from a player perspective, he was an upgrade for what the Browns had at the time. I don't know that necessarily he was worth the King's ransom paid for him, even if he had a squeaky clean background. When you consider some of the other players that could have been picked around Baker if they would have kept him for the first round picks they gave up, or even if they moved on to another quarterback at another point in time. I get why they moved on, but it just seemed like a lot given up for a guy with kind of a checkered past on and off the field.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. Jim LaHaye says, you Ivy Code clowns need to understand the sad state our program is in. Wow.
Yeah, it seems like, I don't know, like sad. I think there's like this We Hate Kevin Stefanski group that messaged each other and said, hey, let's watch the Dog Chug tonight, because the comments are just flooded with like Kevin Stefanski sucks trolling. It's like every single guest or everyone in that chat right now. So
awesome.
I don't know. The Kevin fans, what do you think the club name is for this Kevin Stefanski haters?
I don't know, but wait, he asked another good question. If Flacco leads us deep into the playoffs, do you keep him and start him? Well, you might want to wait for Spit Sip Chugs. We might tackle exactly that question.
Right. Hang around to the end.
It's a realist and generally asking a question.
All right, there we go.
I don't know what kind of okay.
I don't think so. To answer, if I was going to answer that question, I don't think as the Browns, even if Flacco does make a deep run, you can do that just because of all the draft capital you gave up and invested in this guy on salary. Like, you're getting away with having Flacco on your practice squad now and saving your money there, but you have a guy that's making what, 50 million, 45 million a year, and you gave up 3 first-round picks. You can't just let this guy sit on the bench because Flacco had a magical run. Like, you have to be realistic. Flacco's older. Deshaun is younger. He is the future, at least for the foreseeable next season or two.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll get to that. We'll all get a good round of answering that question specifically. Just to defend, I think we're all pretty much, let's evaluate Kevin at the end of the season. I don't think any of us are like, let's build a statue of Kevin Stefanski, but I mean, he is doing he's doing the job, right? I mean, I don't know too many other teams that could go 4 quarterbacks deep and still be 8-5, right? Like Kansas City lost Mahomes, and then like the next 2 quarterbacks, would they still be winning? They're having difficulties winning right now, and they have an amazing coach and amazing team and everything. So I'm going to evaluate the team based on what they're doing, and right now they're doing a pretty damn good job. So you can convince me in the comments that I'm an idiot or an Ivy code. What did they call me? I don't know.
No, not you. They were talking about the Browns front office. It was a Stefanski hater.
Okay. I thought because we're supporting the front office, we were getting roped in. Maybe not. Anyway, let's go to Spit Sip Chug. Let's get some talk about the Browns. Maybe the people in the comments will see, some wisdom in what we're saying, and we'll unify Browns fans. So we're gonna play Spit Sip Chug, Tim. I'm gonna read a statement. You can either, when it's your turn, chug if you strongly agree, spit if you strongly disagree, and if you're somewhere in the middle, you can pull a Roger and sip. Roger, there's a lot of pressure, so I'm gonna let you sip today.
Oh, all right.
And we're going to start with you. That's always the fun way to go. So, first statement is the Browns can maintain adversity, and we still make the playoffs this season in spite of all the injuries.
Man, I don't want to sip on it, but I'm allowed to.
Whoa.
You don't have to.
Using your privileges.
I mean, maintain adversity, yeah. I mean, I guess I'm sipping on it. The injuries are mounting. I mean, like I said earlier when we were talking with Eddie, is we keep plugging holes in, but like you said, we don't know the next guy coming off is on a practice squad. What are we at? 4 and 5 tackles and 3 and 4 at the safety, or 4 and 5 at the safety. I mean, we got guys in there off the street. So, I mean, yeah, I'm sipping on it. How about that?
All right. Tim, it's your opportunity.
So just to clarify, are we saying the Browns are going to continue to suffer through adversity with injuries, or they're going to continue to be
You're
successful?
Saying in spite of the injuries, they're going to make the playoffs. If you agree with that, you chug. If you think we're going to hit.
Oh, there he goes.
Wow.
All right.
Jeez, oh, man.
You're hired.
That's a cocktail there.
Roger's last show.
I love that plug. Why were you chugging?
Feels like the AFC is a little more evenly balanced than in the past. Yes, the team from Baltimore is in the division, and they're a little bit hot right now. But the Chiefs don't feel like they have the last few years. The Chargers are way down, so there's like a bit of a pillow fight over in the AFC West. The AFC South is kind of for grabs, but you have some really young quarterbacks and a backup quarterback kind of trying to engineer who's going to win that division. So it just feels like even though there's a lot of new pieces getting plugged in by the week, eventually people are going to start coming back from injury. And if you can keep winning like this and you start getting your guys back in, it's kind of a promising sign.
All right. Ross.
Oh, I got to chug on this. I can't believe Roger sipped.
It's allowed.
What happened to Homer Roger? He was my favorite. He was always so positive and energetic. Now he's sipping on the Browns making the playoffs when they're 8-5. Are you kidding me? what I like is that we own a lot of tiebreakers. We have a good in-division record so far. And we're ahead of this bloodbath. That's the 7-win teams in the AFC. Just having that one extra win right now is amazing. That's benefiting us a lot. Plus, remaining on our schedule, like I'm keeping track of what I said 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, I said we had 3 coin flip games left. We lost the Broncos game. We lost the Rams game. But when beating the Jaguars was one of those coin flip games and we won it. So that's a huge thing. And then the Texans are potentially going to be easier because of the injury with CJ Stroud. And we got the Bears, Jets, and Bengals. I mean, the Bengals don't look as easy as we thought they would, but that's a really solid remaining schedule. And getting in the playoffs, I mean, 9 wins can do it with the tiebreakers we have. The AFC just beating each other up. So, wow, Dan's saying we sold out. Nice. Because you know what? Everybody respects Dan's opinion so much.
Dan.
That would really hurt.
You go home, Dan. You're drunk.
We're the only 3 people that don't have Dan blocked.
I know.
And he said,
we don't know which Dan it is. But anyways, yeah, we're making the playoffs. We can win one more game and get in is what I'm saying. So chugging on this seems pretty easy. 10 wins is an automatic, but there's definitely two more wins on there. Yeah, the injuries suck, but I don't think it's going to stop us from winning.
And by the way, he also said that now we're 2-6 pussies don't even live there. That don't even live there. But we all live in Cleveland. We all live here. So I don't know what he's talking about.
Is he trying? Did he look up our area codes and find out we're not all 216 area codes?
Maybe.
I am, but I know some of us aren't. There's some 330s and 440s in there.
I don't know. Dan.
How dare they?
Anyway. This is an easy answer. I'm chugging because
they do need an ambulance.
First of all the injuries that got announced over the last 3 days. Guess how much the Vegas line moved? 0, because all these injuries were already pretty much known. We were maybe hoping to get some guys back, and instead of getting them back, they went on IR. A couple guys that were, maybe we'd get them back in a couple weeks, went on IR. So we're not going to have them for the next 4 games, but looking at the next game, we're at full strength compared to what we thought we were going to be before, on Monday. We're still favored to win. You only need to win 10. That guarantees it. I think, as Ross said, I think we can do that. This team believes in itself, and I think they're going to accomplish the mission. So I'm going to chug and go Browns. Let's move on to statement number 2. Tim, we're going to start with you this time.
All right.
The Browns overpaid with their extension to Delpit to a 3-year extension at $36 million.
Sipped.
Yeah, I got a sip on that one. I think early in the season he showed a lot of flashes of what they were hoping to get. Obviously, injuries have kind of snake bitten him in his career. Hopefully, he can get well and get back in time for a playoff run. Or if I'm not aware what his injury situation is, but if it's next season, I mean, he shows flashes and he's a tough guy and he fills on the run really well. So I think. I wouldn't say they overpaid, but there was a little bit of a gamble given his injury rap sheet.
And just to clarify, he was put on IR today, so he'll have to be out for the next 4 games, which means if the Browns make the playoffs, he'd be eligible to return if he is healthy. And I think they're hoping that would be the case. So,
okay.
All right. I got to pull a Roger here and sip. I mean, it kind of, I guess I have to say it's a sip because I can't completely disagree with the statement, but you can't deny the fact that it was just a weird signing. Like, why is a contract extension being announced at this part of the season? Like, if we didn't do it, would we risk losing him? I don't really see that. In the offseason, we could have made the deal anyway. Like, I just don't understand why they signed him then with the injury risk. And guess what happened? He got injured. We didn't know that then. When I heard the news, I'm like, oh, that's not a bad price for a safety that with the way he's playing. But it's just odd to not wait for the end of the season, especially with the fact that we saw what happened when we spent over $200 million on someone that ended up getting hurt. We didn't learn any lessons from that. So just let a contract play out sometimes. It's okay. I know we want to get ahead of it sometimes with this front office, but I don't think if he would have been healthy at the end of the season, how much more would we have had to pay him to extend him? $4 million more? I don't know, but just seems super premature.
All right. For me, I like Delpit a lot. He's a guy that kind of comes and has amazing plays, and then he does something that you're just like cursing him out. But I can live with those types of players because I want playmakers on this defense. I think he is that. But having said that, I think he's just kind of an above average safety, and maybe the league's not valuing safeties quite as much as they were a couple of years ago. However, Andrew Berry's working on, the Browns are making their contracts so that they're paying their guys like 4 years in the future, essentially, the way they write them up. I don't think anyone's given us the contract details, but 4 years from now, if it's average to pay a safety, $12 million a year, it's going to be a pretty solid signing. He's young. He's with the team. They like him. He likes being here. So get it done. The closer you get to free agency, you're going to pay a little bit of a premium. I'm not concerned that he got injured. That's just silly. Like, any guys can get injured any week. So if you like the player, bring him in. So I'm spitting. So I'll say I'm spitting. So Roger, go ahead and sip. We all
spitting on it. Grant Delpit. You know what? I think his role changed a little bit. I think more was put on him when Thornhill went down, and they were and who was the other safety? I forget his name.
McLeod.
Who else went? Yeah. Grant Delpit is having a hell of a year. I think as the other two full-time safeties went down, more was put on his plate. Grant Delpit's only going to keep getting better, and like you said, Andy, I don't care about an injury; they all get injured. He's worth $12 million a year, playing 12 games a year. You know what I mean? Out of the 17. Just like Denzel Ward. I think Koromo is the same way. Koromo is worth the money, playing 12 games. Denzel Ward, I'll pay him top cornerback money to play 12 games a year, because that's what you need. You need him to play 12 good games, They all get hurt. They're all on the IR, so I'm spitting on it.
All right. Tim, you all heard our answers, or no? You started this one.
Started it, yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Off my game. All right, we're gonna start with Ross. Myles Garrett was right to criticize officiating after the Jacksonville Jaguars game.
Oh, I'm gonna chug on this. I'll make it quick. So I was at the game, and bad officiating calls are always exaggerated when you're at the game because you have to do your part and boo. But that pass interference call at the end of the game was the most Vegas suspicious call I have ever seen. The corner was literally running away from the freaking receiver because the receiver wasn't even at the ball. Like, he beat the receiver to the route. We intercepted the ball. They turn it over and everything. Now they're at the 1 yard line. They score. And if the Jaguars if they made that 2-point conversion, which they didn't even have to go for, they could have just tied it and kicked a field goal. But Vegas was in their freaking ear trying to cover a -3 spread. So yeah, the refs they sucked. That last drive shouldn't have resulted in a touchdown. But that was the most Vegas thing I've ever seen. It was a terrible pass interference call. There was 4 Browns defenders in that vicinity. Like, sorry, when you throw it in that area and you're going to call pass interference, no, that wasn't because he bumped the receiver. It's because a quarterback threw into quadruple coverage. It was absurd. I'm just going off that one call. I'm not going to go into everything else because everything's ticky-tacky either way.
All right. Yeah, so I was very annoyed that Mahomes went on his little rant, but the difference
Lysandra's.
Yeah.
The 9% beer hit Lysandra. It's hitting her right now. She's accidentally drunk, officially. Accidentally drunk.
We'll bring her on and we'll see if we can tell.
Yeah.
But the thing that was don't complain about a call being called when it is in fact a penalty, which I think was what Mahomes was upset about that cost them a chance to win the game. He's like essentially saying Kansas City gets these types of calls. So, how dare you call a play like that against the best team in the NFL? The difference with Miles is I think he was just sort of saying like, dude, I am getting hands in my face every single play, which is clearly a foul, and they're not calling it. I'm getting held. I mean, I was sitting pretty close, and they were mugging Myles Garrett, and they called one or two, but it seemed like it was going on the entire game. So I like him sort of putting the refs on alerts. I see Steelers and Ravens do this all the time. They kind of complain, and then the next game you see the refs sort of call the game in their favor a little bit. So and I like that Miles wasn't like complaining too much. He was just kind of like stating his opinion. He was being professional about it. So, and for all these reasons, I'm going to Chug, be the leader, Miles. If it's not right on the field, go ahead and put it out there. So
I'm chugging. And I treat the NFL like I did wrestling when I was, like a teenager doing bong hits in my buddy's bedroom, watching Hulk Hogan and Piper go at it. Don't you watch Annie with the script? It's just entertainment, man, and it's some of the things that I like. Ross was saying, man, it's like, why are you doing this? You know what I mean? It just doesn't make sense. Football sense doesn't make football sense. It makes complete, betting sense. I don't know, man. Myles Garrett, he is, like you said, Andy, he is constantly just and you know what? I heard Stefanski today, and they asked him about this specifically. And he said, Myles Garrett, before every game, Stefanski goes to the crew and says, "Hey, can you watch the guys that are on 95?" You know what I mean? And Stefanski says, it is what it is. Whatever it is, what it is. That was his response, basically. So, yeah, Myles Garrett, he's got everybody coming at him, and he absolutely has a right to criticize him.
All right, Tim.
I'm gonna go with a sip. The coach in me has to say, bad officiating goes both ways a lot of the times, and calls are missed. But on the same hand, the only accountability there is when people call them out to the media. So kudos to him for kind of pushing back and checking them a little bit for not making the right calls. But it is part of the game, so I'm not going to glorify it too much.
Sure. All right. Spoken like a coach. All right. Statement number 4, I guess it starts with me. When they officially sign Joe Flacco to the team next week, because I think they have to, they can't put him back in the practice squad, they should include having him for next season. Man, I am so conflicted on this one. I don't want to sip. So let me explain my logic a little bit. I would love for Flacco to be here. I don't know that him and Watson would get along and work well together. But I love Flacco as a veteran guy that can come in when we need him. We're probably going to need him in this town. And I think he still seems like he's got a little gas left in the tank. So would love to have his experience next year. Although I am very excited about DTR's progression. I think, before he got injured, we saw him sort of putting together a nice quarter and a half. And I want to continue to see him elevate and be the backup of the Browns for the next 3 years. However, like I said, this is a league where you probably need more than 2 guys. And I would love to have a guy like Flacco instead of PJ Walker. Having said all that, Flacco might be one of those weird situations where I think he only wants to come play for a team later in the season when they need him, that he respects. I don't know. I think he does like whatever the Browns are doing. I think he had other opportunities, but this was something that made sense to him and it's working. So I think you could probably just pay him to the end of the year, and then, if something catastrophic happens next season, maybe give him a call again, like they did with Kareem Hunt. I don't know if that's the case, but I'd like to believe it. So I think ultimately, I don't want him to be using a roster spot next year. There's too much talent on this team, so I'm just going to go ahead and spit on this one. Roger.
So we're on to the next one, right?
Joe
Flacco
Flacco.
one?
Yes.
Man, I'm spitting on it because Joe Flacco's going to get it. If you know what, man, we put the cart so far ahead of the horse. I mean, depending on what happens, Joe Flacco could possibly get a starting gig somewhere. You know what I mean? And teams are desperate. You know what I mean? Somebody will believe they can get some magic out of Joe Flacco. I would love for that to happen, but I know it's not going to happen. We're stuck with Deshaun Watson. So, and your backup probably should mirror what your starter franchise quarterback, what type of style of quarterback play that he does. So, old Joe Flacco doesn't play like Deshaun Watson plays. DTR does. So I'd love to see it. I'd love to see it happen, but that would never happen. So I'm sipping.
All right.
I don't know.
Tim.
I'm going to sip on this one.
Yeah.
Roger kind of touched on it, with Deshaun and DTR. The offense now plays with 11 guys in the run game, which puts a lot more stress on the defense, where Joe Flacco doesn't really do that unless you're going to start putting RPOs in, which that's not what Stefanski does. So that's kind of a moot point to argue. I think to say to cut him loose because he could go start for somebody else is not how I would run it. Like if he's one of the three guys I want at quarterback on my roster in some form or fashion, he's going to be on my team if he signs a contract. And he does still seem to have a little bit of it out there slinging it around. Yeah, he doesn't run the ball like the other two guys do, but right now he's the Rams game was kind of knocking off the rust, I feel like, but he looked good last week. So I guess this week really kind of gives it more momentum in either direction, but I'm going to sip on it.
All right. Ross.
Oh, this is one of my favorite Spit Chug statements in a long time. Good job, Andy. It's a real tough one to answer. But I'm actually going to have to spit on this, but for a good reason. So Joe Flacco, he's going to keep doing his thing. He's going to keep winning. He's going to take us to the promised land and win a Super Bowl. And when he wins that Super Bowl, he's going to retire. So there's no way in hell we're going to have him next season. And you know why he's doing this? Because this is my ultimate dream. I did have a look. This is leading to one of my responses on Twitter, if anyone saw it as a random comment. But wouldn't it be great? Joe Flacco, Hall of Fame speech. Hey, I won a Super Bowl with the Ravens. I won a Super Bowl with the Browns. Fuck Art Modell. You played for both organizations and couldn't get here. Good day. I just want to see that moment. Wouldn't that be hilarious if Joe Flacco got in the Super Bowl before Art Modell? Man, yeah. that would be the greatest thing ever.
All right, so we just got to win the Super Bowl this year. Let's go.
I'm saying I'm spitting because he's going to win the Super Bowl.
All right, I love it.
Reverse. You don't usually see that with a spit.
All right, I added one more spit, sip, chug. We're going to go to 5 today. I think it's interesting to talk about this. Roger, we're going to start with you. You're not allowed to sip on this one, though. I'm taking that away.
All right.
The Steelers' demise after losing to 2-10 teams is legitimate this time. We've been waiting for so long for them to crash, and it's happening. They're cooked. Roger.
Well, first of all, because I thought the show was over, but apparently we're still going, so I got to open another beer. Oh, that's bad news.
You don't have to open another beer.
Man, you know what, man? You always say it, but I remember. Look at that head on that too. That's bad. I remember, like through the Paul McDonald, and it just felt like every year, twice a year, we're getting our head kicked in, and finally, man, we beat them here and in Pittsburgh. And it was the Mark Malone era, and all of a sudden they just collapsed. They weren't even a thought. You know what I mean? We just counted as 2 wins for a couple of years. So I think I have that feeling like it's going to turn that way again for the first time in what? It had to be 30 years. But yes, I'm chugging. Took a while. I was waiting for the head of the beer to get down a little bit. I'm going to chug on that, and I say, yes, the Steelers, they're finally crumbling. It's crumbling almost like to the point that Ohio State has crumbled. So I'm chugging.
You dick. Yeah.
This is a good question. If you isolate it to this season, I would. They've been in the beginning. They were consistently inconsistent, but I gave them their props. It takes good coaching to overcome all these injuries, and they're 8-5 for a team that, for the better part of the last 20 years doesn't know what 8-5 looks like in December. So I'm gonna give him a sip, even though the beginning was rocky. There's still points where there's some things to be desired. Overall, I think he's doing a pretty good job.
I hope they fire Tomlin and get what they deserve.
Where did this? I'm asking a different question than is on the prompter right now.
I copy and pasted the.
What the?
Oh. I asked about the Steelers' demise is legitimate this time.
Is that for all?
I was reading Kevin Stefanski's having a good season.
All the Stefanski haters. Let them answer that. Chime in, boys. We got Dan that wants to. He's the only guy left that wants the play calling be taken away from him. Nobody else has said that in like at least 5 weeks. But Dan's gonna die on that hill, and I got to applaud it. I got to applaud it if you're gonna die on that hill, Dan.
All right.
Yeah, and no, I clicked the next one. I didn't even I guess I didn't edit that one from the script. Yeah, the dog choke has a script just like the NFL. Ours is just a little more obvious. We don't have the production value.
All right, well let's finish going around. Is Kevin Stefanski doing a good job? How about that? Then we'll go to the next one. Fair?
All right. Yeah.
So we heard from Roger, we heard from Tim. Ross, you're up. Is Kevin Stefanski having a good season?
Well, yeah, I'll chug on it. I don't have to say too much. The injuries and the fact that you haven't just started 4 different quarterbacks. You've won with those 4 different quarterbacks. That's enough said. I mean, and him hiring Jim Schwartz is a head coaching decision. So every time somebody says Jim Schwartz is the reason this team's great, you have to credit Kevin Stefanski. Sorry, just the way it goes.
There's guys that can't win with the quarterback they pick all year. One guy. He's won with 4 different ones.
Yeah. So look, I agree that Kevin Stefanski has some really annoying warts, and we should be concerned about those warts. But I think we're a little too concerned sometimes. To look at where we're at right now with everything we faced. I mean, come on. If you're not giving him kudos, then you just have an agenda that's not being very realistic, in my opinion. We'll evaluate him at the end of the season. We'll see if he can get us to the finish line, but I'm very happy with where we're at, so I'm going to chug. All right, and now we'll go to the Steelers' demise is legitimate this time. Roger, we'll start with you.
I already answered that.
I'm sorry. I thought you were answering the Kevin one that was on the.
It gives the same answer. It goes. Right, it applies to both.
All right. So then you answer Kevin Stefanski then. Jesus Christ.
Oh God, this is the most confusing statement ever.
Do you think Kevin
Right,
Stefanski's having a
right.
good season? Let's get your thoughts on that one. Go ahead and sip.
Well, number one, let's get this straight. That I'm still on pace to get cookies from Lana. So as long as I keep her happy, I'm going to get at least cookies from Lana. I may not get any from anybody else that enjoy him on the show, but yes, Stefanski is having a good year, and I should get some cookies for saying that. Russ said it. He's one with four different. He's building a culture here. These guys are playing for Kevin Stefanski. You know what I mean? They believe in what he's trying to do, and they're playing for him. And I'm going to defer to the head coach, and let's get a head coach's opinion on it. That's you, Tim.
You already answered.
Yeah, are we going to the Steelers question now?
Let's go.
We're on the next statement.
Steelers' demise is legitimate.
So I'm going to switch over to Miller Lite on this one, and I'm going to chug. I think they have
He's opening more.
Not enough weapons on offense. Looking forward to the future, they don't really have a quarterback that's separating themselves for the job. Defensively, they have Watt and Highsmith and Fitzpatrick, but other than that, they look very pedestrian, which is something you have never really been able to say about them. There's a lot of holes for them to fill in the draft coming up, I think, and it's kind of hard to hit on 5 to 7 draft picks. So I'm going to say yes, it's legitimate, and they could be in the hole for a while.
Nice, Ross.
Oh, I'm going to chug. They were already seeing their demise even when they were 11-0 with Ben Roethlisberger turning into complete dog shit. And when he retired, you hear this all the time, like a good quarterback masks average or even bad coaches. I don't know. It's not fair for me to say Tomlin's a bad coach yet, but if you have another bad season with not a great quarterback, I mean, it starts piling onto you. We're even seeing this with the greatest coach of all time, Bill Belichick, not having Tom Brady. I mean, did they make the playoffs? No. Did they make the playoffs with Mac Jones his rookie year or no? I can't remember, but he hasn't really had a really good year without a Hall of Fame quarterback. So yeah, it's legitimate because from here on out, I think they're going to be spending a few years finding that next quarterback, or they can keep bragging about being 500 or better with Tomlin and being middle of the pack, not winning playoff games or not making the playoffs at all, but not being bad enough to get a top quarterback. They're just going to be stuck in purgatory where they can't change their franchise around because they're going to have the 15th pick in the draft every single year. So yeah, they're going to be in demise. I kind of hope that they just stay at 500.
Me too.
I don't want them to be really bad, because when they're really bad, they could actually get that player that turns them around.
Right. I want them
That's
to be
how the NFL
like
works. If you don't got like a top 10 quarterback, you're not going to win at all.
7-10 every year or whatever.
And I'm hoping the Browns overcome that, not having a top 10 quarterback right now and proving the world wrong, but it just doesn't happen.
All right. Thank you, Ross. Obviously the Steelers have been in a state of decline. I think it's fair to say. For me, though, like one of the things that they've done a really good job of in their history is just adding kind of fringe attitude players to their locker room and believing their culture could get them in line. Who's the crazy receiver they had that was
Antonio Brown?
Yeah, who was a model citizen, and then after he left, you saw kind of the demise. Whatever, maybe that was because he had too many hits to the head, or maybe it's just because, again, they drafted a guy that had a lot of college questions, and he believed in whatever the Steelers were preaching, and everything kind of worked out. I think they continued getting receivers, especially that fit that mold. But now suddenly you have a Steelers team that's deficient in some areas, and it's not working out. And those guys are starting to act like the, drama queens that they maybe showed they could be in college. And when everything isn't right, it splinters the locker room. Everything kind of falls apart and gets ugly. And I think we're seeing that in Pittsburgh. And it's sort of showing that their head coach, he looks like an amazing head coach. He's always been above 500, but he's always been in position to be above 500. Now I think you're finally seeing his lack of holding guys accountable, because sometimes I think he just sort of lets guys kind of do their own thing. And again, when you're in a winning team, players like that, and they'll perform. But when things start getting hard, as Hugh Jackson found out, they start not liking you. Things get ugly fast. And I think you're seeing that in Pittsburgh. I think this is the end of the line for them. They will not finish above 500 this season, and Tomlin will be pushed out before they ever get above 500 again. And I'm hoping it's a long, long time. Like Ross covered, they need a quarterback. They're not in position to get a quarterback. And hopefully by the time they're trying to bring in quarterbacks, the team is just not the old Steeler team that we knew, and they can never just put it together, which is going to be amazing. I'm going to love that. And we'll see how many Steeler fans continue to root for that team when they're in that situation. And I'm saying, I think one of our Dog Chug fans was saying Cleveland Browns Stadium was not filled with fans. I was there. I saw it very filled.
It really wasn't that bad.
I can't.
It was the north end upper deck was the only place you saw orange seats. Everywhere else was fine.
Yeah, and it was loud and fans were into it. I had a great time, but we'll see what happens in Steelers town when they start having multiple bad seasons, because that fan base is so entitled, and as soon as something goes wrong, they bitch more than I've ever seen a fan base bitch. It's actually really fun to go on Twitter and read Steeler fans' thoughts. So anyway, I can't wait to see what's coming. I think that means I'm chugging. So that was a long-winded answer. I apologize.
That was a hell of a specific chug right there.
That was. Good job, everyone. All right, we're going to move it along to our final segment of the night, which is where we're all going to pick a team against the spread. If all five of us are right, we are going to win some cash. Split it between the four of us. I just want to point out, if you flip a coin 5 times in a row, you're going to be able to call it out perfectly 1 out of every 32 times. And we're officially at the point where we've been doing Greatest Pool on Dog Chug for 32 weeks. We've never won. So we're officially against the odds. Like, we should have won at least one.
Smokes.
Randomly, we should have won one time.
Oh my God.
So that means we're due. So we should take.
But don't we lead the league at 4 out of 5s or something?
Yeah, we've been 4-1 a crazy number of times. We did go 2-3 this week. It was our worst week of the season. But again, we're due.
Well, I knew the Navy. Our guest picked Navy last week, and I was like, as soon as he said that, I said, we're done. I knew Army was going to win. I knew the bet was over after that. It didn't matter.
I don't know what the spread was on that one, but
my buddy is in the Army. I think he was promoting Army on Facebook all week.
Yeah.
So I trust Paulie D. Come on, his dad was a book.
All right, so Tim, you can pick any NFL or there's a few college bowl games this week. I can bring up the list if you need me to read you a line, but essentially all you need to do is pick a game against the spread.
Yeah.
I am going to take I'm going to take the under for the Las
It's got to
Vegas.
be it's got to be a line.
Sorry, I'm going to all right, so I'm going to take how do I want to put I don't think the Chargers are going to win by 3. And that's the line for the Chargers Raiders game.
So you're taking the Raiders.
I think the Raiders win that game. I think Los Angeles has quit on that coach and their quarterback's out. It doesn't look good for them.
How much he charges for what?
And that's the Thursday night game. So we got the
text it to me because I can't hear you. I got headphones on.
All
right.
Okay. So we got the Las Vegas Raiders -2.5. Nice. Okay. Roger, you're up next.
All right. I'm sorry. I got a phone call from one of the bosses at 216. Who'd you take? Which one did he take?
The Raiders, Thursday night.
That's a good
tomorrow.
bet. This is. I'm not going to ask you. It's from one of the higher ups. I'm not going to. He wanted to know how much for a mustache ride. One of the higher ups at Network 216, Albert.
Who's going to provide
that
it?
was Jacob. That's Jacob. I don't know.
What the hell is
That was
going
weird.
on?
Well, I'm not worried about calling people Nazis tonight.
Yeah, but he didn't say that over air. You. Okay.
Yeah, he's been chugging. Man, I had a game.
Do you want us to come back to you?
Yeah, come back to me.
All right.
Ross.
I'm taking the Bengals. I got 2.5 on the app I'm looking at over the Vikings.
All right, Cincinnati. Where are you? Sometimes they put the team name, and sometimes they put the it's a Saturday game. That's why I'm confused. Okay, so they're -3.5 against the Vikings.
Yep, I'm on that one.
All right, I am going to go against Mid's plug here, and I'm going Lions.
The Lions have let us down as a dog chug group.
Yeah, they're not going to let us down this week.
I think we're 1-2 with picks for the Lions.
Detroit is -4.5. I'm taking it.
That helps us a lot too in the wild card.
Hell yeah. Roger?
Okay, I'm on the fence here. I like DeVito. I like the Giants +6, but I also like the Atlanta -3 against Carolina. I think I'm going to take the Falcons -3 against Carolina.
Okay, so they're -3.5.
Is it 3.5 on yours? Man. Or should I take the Giants +6 against, New Orleans? I didn't even know they still have a team.
New York.
I'm on the fence. Atlanta, man, their defense is still really good, man.
So Giants are 5.5.
The Giants. Oh, really? You know what? Give me Atlanta. I'm taking the Falcons.
All right, and then
taking a point.
Let's see here. Weston took the Arizona Cardinals, who are playing the 49ers. Where are you?
Ooh. You took the Cardinals?
Cardinals are getting 13.5, and hell yeah, he took them.
Oh, yeah. That's my dude.
So we're going to submit that. If all 5 of these hit, we're going to split whatever cash we can get. I think it's like $1,600 is going to be split between however many winners there are. So we'll all get a quarter of whatever. And I think it's going to happen. Right. So everyone should go bet these 5 games for like $100 to win. You win like $3,000.
Right.
All right.
All right. Well, Tim, this is your first time on the Dog Chug. Do you have any final thoughts? What do you think?
This has been a good time. Roger's been asking me, and I didn't really know what to expect, but no, it was a good time. You guys are pretty passionate fans as well, and it was good. You guys talk sensible, and it was a good time.
Well, thanks for coming on, Tim.
It was a pleasure having you on. You were great. It's good hearing your coach's opinion of Kevin Stefanski since you're a coach. Love that, because 3 of us know what the fuck we're talking about.
Well, you sound like you do.
Well,
so
I've only got flag football experience. That doesn't count.
Well, I'm actually 2 years removed from the game, so I'm just a fan now. So
it does boggle my mind how much anger he creates, given how close it was since we had Hugh Jackson coaching this team, who pissed me off just about every single day that I had to root for this. I've never experienced a more awful time in my Browns fandom than that.
I watched the games, and there's times I've texted Roger one time, like, what the F is this guy doing? and it ended up working out. They ended up winning the one game. I texted him that, but there's like I said, there's times where it's just things to be desired, and times where again he's winning with 4 quarterbacks and a makeshift team basically.
Wow. Yeah. Well, I'm glad we've evolved since then. Speaking of evolution, Lysandra drank a very strong drink when she did her chug. Let's see how she's doing.
Lysandra. Yeah, how you doing, Lysandra? What's going on?
Hey, guys.
Are you having fun?
I'm having a blast. You guys put on a great show tonight, and I've been laughing my ass off over here. So.
Nice. Are you going to come on the shit show?
When's the shit show?
We haven't determined. I would imagine it's going to be
the next week and a half sometime.
Right. Somewhere within the next 10 days. Right. Yeah.
Hopefully it'll be a week.
We're going to get a date.
Day. I think we need to pick a day where no one's working, but with the holiday craziness, we had to figure that out. But
get Jay.
I'm free pretty much whenever.
Right.
So I will participate in the shit show happily.
All right.
Well, can't wait for that. Do you have any final thoughts to send us out
on? No, I want to say I love you guys. You guys put a smile on my face after a shitty couple weeks I've had.
Oh,
and go Browns, and Flacco's going to take us all the way. I know I said this is like totally the beer talking. No, but honestly,
no, Flacco's the reason. It's not the beer talking.
Oh my God, the guy was like 17-3 against us. He kicked our ass forever, and now he's winning for us. The irony is amazing. But honestly, Kevin Stefanski has done amazing with all of the injuries that we've had. And if we're 8-5 after all this shit, who's to say we can't go all the way? I mean, come on. At this point, it would be so Browns of us to win with a 4-quarterback season.
That would be very Brownsy.
Super Browns.
That would be so Browns for us to win the Super Bowl with our 4th quarterback that used to kick our ass.
Yeah. Yes, he did. Glad he's here. And
definitely.
Tim, thank you so much for coming on. We hope to have you back.
Yeah.
Roger Ross, thank you. Go everyone tune in for the shit show. We'll tell you when it is. It's gonna be
let me know. I'll be there. I'll totally be there.
Drink a lot of it. We're gonna have a bunch of people on. Hopefully the Yankee Browns fan. And then the guy from the Dude Network. We're gonna get it all together, and I'll get a promo out once we pick a date.
And we got Noodle. He said he's gonna be in. We're all gonna try and drink 6 Christmas ales by the end of the shit show.
I'm gonna have to find a Christmas ale out here, because that Christmas ale for Great Lakes out there when I went back home was awesome. I have to find something similar.
A good batch here. It really is. But there's plenty of Christmas ales out there. Denver will have them, so
I know. But I want Cleveland Christmas
local,
ale. Damn it!
Different. Pick something local from Colorado. From Denver, that's going to be different from what we got. So we all have a bunch of different beers around the NFL.
Yes, that's true. It'll be like a Christmas beer tour.
It's going to be amazing. And if you think we were shitty tonight, just wait to see how bad it's going to be next time. So.
Oh, my God. So I could get like a 6-pack of like local Christmas ale and just get trash with you?
Hell yeah. That's what we're talking about.
Okay. You just tell me when.
All right.
All right. With that, this is the Dog Jug. Drink them if you got them. Go Browns.
And to the top, Tiger, Jack the Chooch.